Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Kieran. I'm a spiritual guide and I help people using a spiritual perspective. Today I wanted to pose this question. It's a pretty thoughtful question that I've been wondering about for the past couple weeks, but it goes like this. How come the people that need the most help aren't able to afford it? All right, now this is going to be focused in on spirituality and the sort of gurus of the world, but this applies a lot to traditional therapy as well. I have plenty of stories about that in my life where, I literally, it's almost designed where you can't get help. You can't get help. And I noticed that it's very much like this in the spiritual communities as well. So I'm basing this question off of something that I saw recently. And it was from a YouTuber, a spiritual, coach. I don't know if that's how he describes himself. I don't think he does. But he's a teacher essentially. His name's Jeff Foster, and I really like Jeff Foster a lot. I think that he speaks with passion, but a sense of groundedness. Light humor, gentleness. He's a very good person to discover on YouTube. Anyway, I like him a lot, right? But I recently discovered something. He was doing like a retreat in Belgium. Okay, so he lives in England, but he's doing a retreat in Belgium. And even though I know I would not be able to go anyway, even if I think I did have the money, I probably wouldn't go because I don't want to go to Belgium. But he is doing a retreat there, speaking to other people, and I wanted to see how much it would cost, just out of curiosity. And I was kind of shocked to discover how much it was. It was for just the being able to share a room with 6 other people and having a sort of shared bathroom in the hallway sort of thing. $1,100. Right now, this is sort of give or take a few, maybe like $50 to $100 because it's in pounds. Okay, it's in euros or something. But the idea is closely related to the dollar amount. So it's about $1,100 US. And I thought, well, damn, that's a lot. It's a lot of money just to stay in a small room with 6 other people. And yeah, it's for a week, but still, $1,100. That's not including the time it takes to travel over there, the expenses that it costs to go on a journey. So you're looking at probably around $2,000, really, depending on where you're coming from. Maybe not in Europe, but if you're making the trip from far away, so you're looking at about $2,000. But either way, you're looking at more than just the cost of staying there. And the company rates, going through the company that is hosting the event, that costs even more. So just the rates that it as sort of Jeff Foster, has something to do with personally, those are still quite expensive. Cheaper, but still expensive. And then you look at the most expensive option, which is just the ability to have your own bathroom and your own room. So privacy, essentially. You're looking at about $2,100, not $21,000. That really would be quite expensive. But $2,100 you're looking at, right? And I was blown away by this because, of course, it's in a beautiful mansion villa in the Belgian countryside. Beautiful location. Absolutely, looks beautiful. Everybody has different preferences on what's beautiful, tropical or countryside type of thing. But it's this mansion. It takes place in this mansion in the countryside, secluded away from everybody else. And you start to compare that to what other people do. These other gurus, these other people who have these retreats that they have. There's a common theme. Where they're going, right? You've got people doing these elaborate retreats in Costa Rica. You've got them in Sedona, Arizona, which is not a tropical location, but a very overpriced, oversaturated market because of the spiritual community. So that you know how much money you're going to make there is quite a lot. You've got people going to Bali. You've got the Belgian countryside. You've got, southern Italy, right? Everybody charges exorbitant amounts of money to go to these places because they're beautiful, because they're tropical, because they're places that you see on a calendar or on a screensaver and you think, wow, I bet going there would be quite an experience. And so these people, these gurus, are able to charge quite a lot of money. Regardless of whether or not I like them, I can't help but wonder, is that fair? Is that right? Because the people who need the help the most from these experienced people who talk about things in a way that resonates with a large group of people aren't the ones that can go. They're not the ones who have an extra $2,000 to just go off to Belgium or go off to Costa Rica or go to Bali. People don't have that. The people who need the money or who need the help, who need the experience, they don't have the money to go. They just don't. And that seems very unfair. And you may say to me that life is unfair. I've always hated that, because if anything, life is incredibly fair, where we all die. And I think life is a very fair thing to be. But you don't always get what you want. That's a little bit different. But still, the idea that these places have to be held at these elaborate mansions and villas and beautiful locations, I can't help but wonder, well, aren't they picking these places? Aren't they choosing these places because of course it will be more money, the upkeep, the what it costs to run the place, to have the heating or the light, and it just seems so inauthentic, and yet what's being preached is enlightenment. It's these people telling us that you don't need to go anywhere to find enlightenment, to be at peace with yourself, to feel love, to understand your role in the universe or life, to just connect to the person beyond the personality, beyond the inventions of everything, to just into our deepest self. These are the people who are telling us this, and we like that they're telling us this, and yet they're saying, well, come pay anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 plus expenses to get there in some elaborate mansion or some beautiful coastal getaway. And there enlightenment will find you. That screams inauthenticity to me. And it's not that all of them are charlatans or anything like that. Like I said, this is coming from specifically using Jeff Foster as a reference, but I don't think that he's a bad person. I don't know, but I don't think, it doesn't come across that way to me. Seems like a genuine kind of person trying to help people out, in his own way, which I really respect. And I would like to model my own behavior after that, of course. But I'd also like to think that if I ever got to a place where I was as popular as some of these people, that I wouldn't choose to hold retreats if I wanted to do something like that in places where people can't access it and can't afford it. And when it comes to spirituality, I think it should be easily accessible information, and it should be easily accessible in price. And I don't think that's too much to ask for. It should be easy information to get and easy information to receive. Right? It shouldn't have to be, you got to travel to southern France, or you have to go to the Florida Keys or the Bahamas or some tropical island just to do what? To take some drug, to be in a group of 30 people, to always have some 7-day vegan dinner. You've got to act the part of spiritual just to get the spiritual information. And that doesn't seem right. Why is there not locations that are more accessible to people? Because I know there are. It's not like England doesn't have any beautiful places in it. It's not like there isn't room in these mansions and these hotels that people are going to. So it's not like there's always a limited number of spots, but not a limited number of space. This is very different. Right? We're not renting out a two-bedroom condo. When people are renting out mansions and villas and these huge ranches for us to get the experience of something, but for them to make money. And the idea is, of course, they know this. They know that renting out a mansion is what gets them money. And it's not that that's a bad thing. The idea, though, is that because teaching spirituality is a niche sort of thing, meaning that it's not a regular traditional service. It's not like a mechanic. There isn't just a bunch of shops all around where this is a widely, commonly accepted thing where you just go in and go see a teacher. It's not a therapist's office. There's no insurance covering any of this, right? There's nothing like that. It's basically regular people who have gone through something and have a version of truth to share. And then the people that resonate with that truth, however large, because it may grow over time, will maybe want to listen to them even more. And so they might be willing to pay. So of course, you should be able to make money off of that. You shouldn't be broke and poor. Nobody really, you shouldn't have to go through that if you have something that you're trying to offer others, especially if it's coming from a genuine good place. The issue is that because there is no market to compare it to, you're allowed to charge whatever you want. And it's very similar to the car industry. You guys might have ever wondered why cars are so expensive. It doesn't actually cost that much money to make those cars. Supercars maybe, but you know, the regular cars, it doesn't cost that much money, right? You see a car for $20,000. It didn't actually cost $20,000 to make that car. The thing is, they can charge whatever they want because nobody is there to stop them. There's no regulation to say, hey, your car can't be more than this. There's no government thing to tell them that. It's just not there. So in the same vein, this is happening with spirituality. There's nobody to say how much is too much, except for you, the consumer. And if you're willing to pay $1,000 to go to Belgium and stay in a room with 6 other people, then that's fine. And apparently people are. But it's not fair because in all of my experience, the times that I've needed it, the times that I wish I could go meet Jeff Foster or talk to somebody who I felt was a little bit farther ahead than me, so that I could maybe get some insight and some wisdom personally up close, are of course the times where I'm not able to afford it, or the other people weren't able to afford it because they can't do it. They can't get over there. They can't. And that's the majority of people who need help, is they're not able to, you know. I remember at one point I was trying to get a therapist to talk about some stuff, and the insurance gave me a list of 100 places, and out of those 100 places, 50 were near me. So it was about a 50-mile radius, so 50 of those were within about 10 miles of where I was living at the time in California. Of that 50, about 25 were taking new clients, new people. Okay, so that's narrowed down to 25. And then of those 25 people, I wanted to try out a female therapist. So of those 25, about 15 were female. All right, in that area. So okay, 15 female therapists to choose from. Of that 15, 10 of them, there's 10 different numbers, 10 different offices, were actually dealing with kids with autism or family and marriage. Okay, so now that left me with 5 choices. Right, so just a regular person, just a regular therapy, left me with 5 choices. And 4 out of 5 of those choices all belonged to the same company, the same parent place, and they were all in the same building. And that building was the one place I was trying to avoid because I had been there before and I didn't like it. And they're actually low rated on Yelp and places like that in the area, just because they had poor customer service and the therapist apparently had, you know, maybe not the best conduct. And that was my experience there as well. So there was only one place left for me to choose from, and I called them up, tried to get an appointment, and of course the nearest appointment was for 4 weeks out. Right. So that's how difficult it is when you need help to actually get it. And it exists in traditional therapy and it exists within spirituality, is the people who need the most help can't afford it, or they can't get the information, they can't get there. Nobody's holding retreats in the United States, in like, you know, Oklahoma, or Texas, or Oregon. Nobody's holding these places in Iowa, Pennsylvania, New York. It's always in the tropics. It's always in a spiritual niche community like Sedona. It's always in some beautiful location in Europe. It's always somewhere else. And yet the messages have always been about this stuff can be accessed anywhere, that you don't need to go backpacking through Europe to find yourself. You don't need to do that. You can learn who you are in the comfort of your home. That's always been the information that's being processed and preached. So I just find myself thinking, well, I hope that one day, if I am in that position, I never ask too much. I never try to take advantage, because spirituality is something that, if you have managed to find a sense of truth and balance and peace, maybe what people call enlightenment, then you would want to be able to give that to others for free, or at least in a way that's cheap, or affordable, I should say. Maybe is a better word than cheap. Affordable, reasonable, accessible. But spirituality is increasingly becoming none of those things. It's not becoming affordable, it's not becoming reasonable, it's not becoming accessible. It's the opposite. And everybody is doing that because, of course, anybody, any of these teachers can charge whatever they want, because why wouldn't they be able to? There's no market thing to compare themselves to. And if people are willing to pay, then that's fine. It's just like the art world. Who says that a piece of art is actually worth $1 million? Well, you do. The people do. Someone does. It's people who are willing to pay $1 million say that's worth $1 million. But there's no inherent value to it. But still, at the end of the day, people do need to make money. And I do agree that spiritual teachers or people offering services are doing just that. They're offering services. But it seems to be increasingly coming at the expense of the people who need it the most. And that just rubs me the wrong way a little bit. And anyway, that kind of inspired me to sort of change my own model of prices, because I do offer pricing on, my websites and stuff, which you can always find in the description box if you're interested. But I wanted to lower the prices for that stuff because I thought when those things are available, if people want to do that stuff like that, because I have had coaching clients and done lots of tarot readings for people in the past and stuff like that. If people want to partake in that stuff, I want it to be affordable. I want to still be able to get paid for what I'm doing because I care about it, but I don't want to ever get to a place where I'm taking advantage of others, where I'm not realizing that the people who need this the most are the people who can't afford it. And that really struck a chord with me, is realizing how inaccessible a lot of spirituality is becoming to people. And of course, the stuff that we have is just becoming more and more toxic. A lot of this new age belief system is becoming very toxic to people who are trying to do their best, but then yet at the same time are being blamed for their life not being the way that it's supposed to be, just because we're not grateful or positive enough. There's so much information, so many things that I just feel is hurting a lot of people, and this is one of them. And in any case, I'd rather be getting paid for all the creative stuff that I do rather than necessarily the spirituality, as I do a lot of music and writing, and that pays more money anyway. So I'd rather focus on that aspect of my life and free up this space to be a little bit more accessible and a little bit more affordable to people. So I've modulated my prices in that regard, just because I was inspired because of this idea that I'm talking about here, which is just spirituality being just another business, $1 million business, $1 million industry, like Tony Robbins, right? The guy charges thousands of dollars to come see him speak. It's the people that need to see Tony Robbins speak are the people that do not have $1,000 or $2,000. And trust me on that. And it's like that in pretty much every situation. Is it seems that the people who need the most help just can't get it, and that rubs me the wrong way, like I said. So I'm hoping that this video, you might create a discussion with me, because I just wonder how you guys feel. Of course, I believe people should make a money off of the services that they're offering. Spirituality is no different. It's just, how much is too much? What do you guys think? Anyway, we'll talk soon, guys. Bye-bye.